Hello. I'm going to say something that is going to be called crazy or wild or out there. But I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit what people think about me and what people think about the subject matter, etc. I don't live to please people. But there's a major truth that needs to be spoken that I've never once heard spoken. Honestly, not a single day on this earth have I heard this message that I'm about to give. I've never once heard it out of anyone's mouth. There is no such thing as a homeless person. There is no such thing as homelessness. There is no such thing as homeless. And as all my other videos, as in all my other talks or conversations with anybody, I explain myself. What do I mean that there is no such thing as homelessness or homeless? What do I mean? I'm sure that's what you're asking yourselves. What I mean is this. There is no such thing as homelessness. What exists is sober, knowledgeable, educated people that do not help their friends, family, associations, or neighbors. I'll repeat that again. What does exist is educated, knowledgeable, sober people that don't help their friends, family, associations, and neighbors, their own communities. What I do know is that college exists and that college is the answer for many people, that people can get grants to cover their college tuition, and that people can get loans to pay for their rent, books, transportation, and that's the answer for some people. I know that a lot of people have spare bedrooms and they could take somebody in. I also know that homeless shelters exist, but doesn't help all people. Most of the time their beds are full. It's not the answer in countless different ways. The staff aren't always nice. They're not always respectful. The people you meet are not always necessarily going to be safe people for you. You or your child, especially people with children. I also know that what exists is rehabs, sober houses for people that have addiction issues with alcohol, drugs, substance misuse issues, or other addictions. I'm going to ask all of you, how come this doesn't get talked about to solve the homeless issue in America? People could be enrolled in college, or enrolled in a rehab or a sober house, or use your spare bedrooms that a lot of people are just have empty. I know for a fact countless people have spare bedrooms and they're empty. They're empty. I know for a fact that some people have a lot more money than they lead others to believe, and that they could be helping a lot more people. Families, friends, associations, neighbors, your community. That people are holding back. Why? Because of apathy, hatred, discrimination, which is also called persecution in your Bible and Book of Mormons. That would be called persecution, apathy, and hate. You also got dysfunctional beliefs, that people don't know the truth about people, that homeless people and people with addictions are not as scary as the world believes and says, that they are people with stories. They are people that should be heard and should be listened to, but they're not. but they're not heard and they're not listened to. They're not respected. I've seen countless, lately the past couple of weeks, I've seen countless channels on YouTube about people interviewing the homeless in all different cities in America. I've seen the one in Atlanta, I think Philadelphia, and another one. There's several of them all around the country. And, the other one's in Phoenix. But there's many people that have channels interviewing the homeless, but they're not just interviewing them. I believe that some of them are straight up harassing them and asking them the wrong questions. And I feel that some of them are exploiting them, and it's not okay. It's not respectful, and it's not nice, and you're not helping them. And it's very, very disturbing. Like, for instance, some of them will say, well, why aren't you with your family members? Why aren't you with your families? Well, you know what? A lot of families are abusive, whether that's physical or mental. And abuse is not okay. And when interviewees want to pretend like families don't exist that are abusive, and that you're going to try to force a homeless person that you call homeless into a situation that is dangerous for them, whether that's mentally or physically, and you're going to try to force them to be with their family or be with maybe an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband that's abusive, whether that's mentally or physically, and you're going to question them as to why they're not with their ex-husband or their ex-boyfriend or their family, when they straight up tell you that they're abusive. It's very, very disturbing, some of these interviews that are out there. It's straight up exploitation, and it's disgusting, and it's disrespectful. It's not helping. These people don't even share if they actually give resources to these people that they're interviewing, or if they give them hygiene kits or resources. Instead, it just seems like they're harassing them and exploiting them for the internet fame, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick. Some of the interviews that they have, and it's not right. It's not right at all. People need to be heard, like I said, respected, and how about helped? They deserve help. They need help. And I know for a fact that there's countless people across America that have spare bedrooms. I know for a fact there's countless people with money and they pretend they don't have money to help people. I know for a fact that rehab, sober houses, colleges exist, homeless shelters exist, that there is help for people. I also know that some people, all they need is to get enrolled in disability, and so that they can get an apartment with disability, and that their needs could be met. Could be met. But it's the fact that nobody has signed them up for disability. And I know that for a fact for multiple people, that all they need is somebody to help them get on disability, to get a disability lawyer, and to get their IDs, and get this and get that. And it makes me sick that the answer is so simple, and yet America's not solving this issue, and instead letting people suffer for no reason. Suffer for no reason at all because of your hatred, your apathy, your lack of interest in these people, and seeing them as human beings that need and deserve help. When the resources are endless and countless, and yet people are not helping the homeless. They instead live in fear, apathy, hate, persecution, live with dysfunctional beliefs about them, myths about them, lies about them. It's simply not true. A lot of the beliefs out there about the so-called homeless people or disabled people, mentally ill people, the addict people, whatever you want to call them, they have a lot of labels. There is so much help out there. The fact is, people aren't taking the time to help their family member or their friend or their association or their coworker or their neighbor or their community members, to sign them up for the disability programs or the rehab programs or the sober houses programs or the college programs. Answers and solutions are everywhere. You also got van lifers. You also got people living in campers and RVs. Used campers and used RVs, or living out of their vans. The problem is when you have government that wants to attack people and claim, they could easily claim and say, oh, well, that's not a sufficient house to live in with you and your child, and attack you on that. That would be a problem, possibly, for van lifers. And when we have a government or American citizens that want to question the way people live and condemn them if they live in a van or a tent or whatever it is, it's ridiculous that if it's summer, spring, or fall, you're going to judge, criticize, and assume the life of somebody that even lives in a tent or sleeps outside. But America wants to judge that and be like, oh, they're homeless, and pretend that a tent's not a home. It's disgusting and sickening. Because I know for a fact that a lot of people are sober and educated, knowledgeable, and they could help their family member or their friend or their neighbor or their coworker or their community members around them. That what's going on is people aren't willing to give up their time or their money. And this needs to change. Like I said, homelessness is not a thing. The thing is, educated, knowledgeable, sober people aren't helping others get the help that they need and deserve.